It's been a crazy week. 2 weeks ago, I decided to sell all my GameStop stock because I thought, well, this is worthless and I don't need to do that. Definitely. So I got rid of that, and I don't have to think about that anymore. And then I stopped looking at the news, which also just made my
stress levels
go way down. Yeah. So it's been a really good 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you, Eric.
Yeah, thank you.
I've never had stocks in anything except for more recently with retirement stuff going through and whatnot.
It's only retirement stuff I've ever had.
Trying to plan retirement things, so I've never done much with it. But
yeah.
So no, I did not have any GameStop stocks. Even though
you worked there, you didn't.
Well, I didn't have Radio Shack stocks
in lieu of
which
like,
might have been a good thing. But I also, when I worked there, I knew that they were having problems with a lot of things are going digital. What are we going to do? How are we going to stay afloat? Pre-owned games aren't going to be around as much.
Yeah.
Because of so much digital stuff. So there's a lot of things with what's GameStop's plans for the future, and that's why they combined with Think Geek and started having a lot more you go in there, you see pops and statues and lightsabers and stuff like that, D&D stuff, socks and backpacks. Yep. They had some of that stuff before, but they really have a lot more now.
It started to look more like an FYE store.
Sure, which those are gone too.
Yeah, they are.
So.
Well, I mean, I was excited because, GameStop, 5 years ago started carrying actual figures and not just cheap, Chinese models, they would legitimately the Black Series was there, Marvel Legends was there, DC Multiverse was there, and those are fantastic figures that are very collectible, and I mean people go all over the place looking for them because not every retailer will get them, but it seems like lately they don't give a shit. They just have here's the same Lando from Solo.
Yeah.
Has been here on this peg for 2 years.
We have to sell it or we won't get more.
Exactly. It's dude, people will buy if you get the right stuff in,
Well, I mean, yeah, but they already have some stock and no one bought it, so then should they get more,
Yeah.
That's usually the thing that happens is well, we got this much, we didn't sell it, so we don't get more of it.
But I mean, if they had I know for a fact there's a lot of collectors around here that will go and just pick clean, stuff. Some of them resell, some of them just have a lot of collections and stuff like that, but I mean, if you kept a decent, just a box rotation of stuff, I bet you would sell a lot more. I don't know. At the very least, I just don't go to the store anymore.
So what do they do with those other figures?
I don't know. Discount them. Put them on the discount thing. Their whole discount thing that's $1 less than normal.
I mean, they do that though.
Yeah.
Right now at our GameStop, there's this Luke Skywalker in a vintage-looking package that is clearanced for whatever it is, But I mean, they do that, but still no one buys them. You're no one wants your stuff. Get new stuff. Well, they gotta get rid of the old stuff. So they either gotta send it away or something.
I mean, that's capitalism for you.
That's capitalism.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now,
and have Reddit come out and save you.
I don't know if you would know this, but GameStop also had an online store. So where did that stuff come from? Would that come from a warehouse they had separate from the stores, or would those be taken from store shelves at any point?
If you mean going to GameStop.com?
Yeah.
It's a mixture of both. When I worked there, they were starting more and more of the online sales stuff. And if I recall, what they do now is you might get an order for also in-store where someone's bought online and they're coming to your store to pick it up. But there's lots of times where you got to ship stuff out, which might go to another GameStop or it might go to a warehouse. So the stuff you're ordering online could come from either one technically. But probably more often than not, it's usually from a warehouse. And then they have stuff in stores that eventually will get shipped out and stuff too. But I remember we got this online order, do this, set it in this drawer, wait for that person to come in.
Remember the last time I had to go to a GameStop, and it was the thing that saved me, was way back, it must have been over 10 years ago now.
It saved you, Rick?
It did, because I was working on the bowling video game, and for the Vicious engine, the only way you could get a 360 controller to work on it was a wired one. I could not find a wired one online. I couldn't find one anywhere. And I went to GameStop and they had a used one that smelled like cigarette smoke.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
But it worked.
There isn't always a cleaning process for that that's super intense or nothing.
Yeah.
You can only do so much.
Well, I mean,
unless you send it off to get it a deep cleaning.
Even when I got it, I cleaned that sucker, but it still smelled like smoke.
Yeah. So the cigarette smoke is a hard thing to get out of anything.
Yeah, it is. Isn't that right, Eric?
Definitely.
I've seen some gross stuff come in.
I mean, I smoke a lot of tobacco, but never inside.
Yeah.
Because it's on your walls, it's on your windows. I had a grandmother that everyone smoked in a house, and you would just go there and just put your finger along something, and it's just yellow, you know.
Aaron and I would go game at a friend's house who would smoke.
Yeah.
And like I remember, like I would notice it when I got there, and then like we play it for a few hours, I wouldn't notice it so much. But then when I left, like my clothes were just.
My wife would think I went to a
soaked
bar.
in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're the bar? It's like, and sometimes that was a better answer than where I really was.
Yeah. and it's not like they were smoking at the time, you know, while we were playing or anything.
It's just
leftover
trapped in the air.
So, but yeah, so I've heard and seen some things that are like, man, this was not taken care of, and now you want money for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like GameStop usually gives a lot of money for the trade-ins to begin with. There's more credit, less in cash.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's kind of a pawn shop in a way, almost.
Kind of, yeah. A little bit of that. Like, there's set prices that they'll do for things, and there's some stuff they just won't take.
Yeah.
Where a pawn shop just kind of like, they just pick and choose and make up a price as they go along, you know? Like,
Sure.
That one guy could come in with the same exact thing the other guy had before, but he might say, no, sorry, I don't want it. Because he just got one, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas GameStop, if you came in with the new Madden game, and then the next guy came with the new Madden game, they both would get the same option for it and stuff, too. Unless they were defective, in which case there might be some differences there. So,
what does a company like GameStop feel like when PlayStation puts out a no disc version of their console? You know?
Yeah, like I said, it's
like
definitely
it's
a
gotta
tough.
feel so like, damn it.
Yeah,
It's a tough thing because they would. That's, I mean, most of their money comes from the pre-owned stuff because they offer. I mean, if you trade in a game, you know, you got like this week's game that just came out, and you're getting $25 for it, store credit, usually, and then they're selling it for $55. So I mean, the markup on that for them is much higher than buying that game brand new for $60 or whatever, and they get about $1, $2 maybe.
I wonder if the extra money from like the pandemic relief stuff has kept more GameStop opens than would be open otherwise.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, you definitely need places for your items, your accessories, and all that kind of stuff too. But I mean, with things being shut down, like I know our GameStop was shut down for a little while, where like they just weren't open, and then they had like specific times and stuff that they were open.
Well, there for a while, I remember they got some heat because they were saying they were essential because they sold like webcams and stuff that you know, people needed to work from home or whatever.
Sure,
I remember that.
Boba's in the chat right now and says, "I'm actually at work at GameStop watching this."
yeah, Boba works there. But no, yeah, like you said, like I was saying before that there's lots of statues and stuff too now. Like when I was working there, we didn't sell a lot of like PC stuff. Was very small.
Yeah.
Now at the GameStop here, like they have like Razer.
Oh yeah, they have a
like,
section.
mice and keyboards and stuff too.
Their PC section is as big as the Switch section now.
Yeah, so like there's a lot more like variety in things they sell and stuff too. And I don't think they do much in pre-owned of PC accessories though. At least not that I've seen at our GameStop. I don't know what they do. Like I don't know if they take in a pre-owned mouse.
But I don't
I
know.
mean, they have a.
But also when I get a mouse, it's not very often that I'm like, you know what? I need a new mouse. I'm gonna get rid of this one. Trade. I keep that mouse so it doesn't work anymore. You know? Like,
Oh yeah.
oh man, I love this mouse. I'm using this mouse.
It's at least 5 years.
Yeah.
Well, it's basically like a console generation before like Switch mice, pretty much.
The GameStop at the mall right now has a SH Figuarts figure of Master Roshi, and those are like really high quality, sought after, posable figures.
We've gotten quite a few of them.
We've gotten quite a few of them, and
really
like
good.
I've always really enjoyed. I don't really collect them, but I've always thought about like if I'm going to start collecting something else, it might be those Figuart figures, you know. But they've had one for like a year,
Sure.
you know. And I keep thinking like, should I buy this? But if I do, it's not like I'm going to get any more. I don't want to order them, you know.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah, like even before, you know, if I knew what my purchase was going to be for a game, like for a long time I'd get it online. But like when I'd go into GameStop, I would see something and like I hadn't even thought about it. More of like an impulse buy sort of thing. Like, man, I forgot about that game. Yeah, I'll pick that up.
Yeah. And I would go too with like their buy two get one free on pre-owned games and stuff too. And they also have their whole like, they have the let's see, what is it? 7 days and 30 days. So I think there's like defective things for like 30 days of different stuff for like a pre-owned game. But you also get like I think it's like a week that if you get a game and it's just like this game is not what I expected it to be. As long as it's pre-owned, I don't think it works if it's new. as long as it's pre-owned, if in 7 days you're like, this game is not at all what I thought it was going to be, you can take it back and then exchange it for something different.
Yeah, they were also taking back even new versions of Cyberpunk.
Well, yeah, there's situations like that they'll do that's just like, well, damn, we don't want people to be pissed off. I know this isn't our fault, but... And there may have also been some kind of deal, too, maybe with the publishers or something with that as well.
Yeah.
Because I imagine that and, like, No Man's Sky, when that came out, like,
Yeah,
things like that
that was
have,
another
like,
big one.
a lot of pushback.
I'm
But,
sure it's... sorry, go ahead.
No, but yeah, just that idea. Like, you can't do that with you can't go to Walmart. I mean, I guess you could. Walmart takes almost everything back anyway. But
Yeah.
the idea of, like,
Even if it wasn't bought there sometimes.
yeah, being able to go in and, like, all right, I want to get this game looks really cool. Let me get that. And that might just be an impulse buy. But I always thought it was cool of, like, well, I got 7 days at least that if I really don't like this game, I can take it back and maybe try to find something else that I do want.
Yeah, I remember, like, way back in the day, it was like that with games. Like in the NES era.
Mm-hmm.
Like when games were coming back after the crash from Atari. Like a lot of places, you could have it for a while and they would take it back if you didn't like it.
Really?
But then I can't remember exactly when that switched. It switched during the NES era, I feel like. But I can't remember, like, the year or anything.
See, now, too, like, not so much with the Switch, but with disc-based, like, you have that disc getting scratched kind of issue that you could worry about. I feel like with the actual cartridges, like, you could tell if it was broken usually because there's damage to it, but for the most part, you didn't have to worry about getting scratched up or something.
Like PC games were the one thing you could never take back because you could just copy those in most cases.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the same thing, too. We would never take back a PC game.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, 'cause you could-
and they never did pre-own PC gaming either.
Yeah, because you could just install it, and as long as you don't need the CD to have the game key,
Yeah,
you
and
just play it.
a lot of those, like, you get it, and then there's a game key that you use, and once it's used, it's done.
It's
you know,
done,
so
yeah.
that was the issue too with it. So
I don't know if it's... I mean, I'm sure it's related because of, like, the internet, but the thing that makes me sad is that you would find in GameStops are the strategy guides.
Oh, yeah.
You don't see a lot of strategy guides.
you
I
don't see
don't-
them too much. Usually they pop up for, like, the big names every once in a while.
Yeah.
But I mean, the reason too is when I worked there, not a lot of people really bought them. The internet came out, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but...
I mean, yeah, like, as soon as the internet happens, there's no way you need those anymore. But they were some works of art.
sometimes you need them, though, because, like...
Well, yeah, old games.
Well, no, Dragon Quest VIII is one of my favorite games ever. But I also got a strategy guide for it. And, like, that strategy guide is a work of art. Like, it makes the game so much easier, and, like, you can just 100% it. It would take thousands of hours, but you can do it in much less time.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I was really looking forward to Dragon Quest XI, which was going to be the first one that, like, wasn't a weird online version thing. And I was like, man, it's going to be great. Day one, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get the strategy guide. The strategy guide never came out in the U.S.
See, that's the thing too. A lot of those you're going to be seeing, like, maybe big names coming out with strategy guides at launch, and then they're going to disappear before along with that. And that's probably because they have, like, a collector's edition, maybe a regular edition.
Yeah.
Pokemon games will sometimes have those.
And
but
the thing,
I can
too, is, like, you know, now games aren't finished when they come out, so they'll get patches. So, like, in Dragon Quest VIII, and I'm not sure if that happened in Dragon Quest XI, but, like, it would have all the stats for the monsters. But, like, maybe there's a balance patch at some point.
And now they're different.
And all that stuff's different now.
True. I can if you ever
That makes
look
sense.
at some of my old videos, like, in my basement, either from streams or, like, when we did, like, Supergirl and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
On my back shelves, I have a whole bunch of strategy guides, and most of those are all because they pennied out at GameStop, and they were throwing them in the dumpster.
Jesus.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
so we had to, like,
For
categorize that they were
the cost
there.
of keeping them in the store
Yeah.
and having an employee actually, like, sell them and stuff, it
Yeah.
costs more to keep it there than to just...
So they made more room for it for other stuff, which that might what happened to that Lando thing. They might penny out, and it might just get thrown away at some point. Man.
Yeah.
Which
But,
is ridiculous that something it loses so much value that you can't ship it anywhere. You can't give it away.
It would cost
It
too
would
much
cost
to
more to
ship
ship.
it to hopefully find
Yeah.
someone that might want to buy it, you know?
Yeah.
So
It's
they
just-
would penny it out, we toss it in the trash. And I'd be like, hey, I'm going to take these. Like, I'm throwing them away. Might as well someone take them.
Yeah.
So I have a whole bunch of just random strategy guides for some things. I'm like, I want this one. I want this one. This is a collector's edition. This one's cool, you know? So I have those at home where I'm like, well, at least I have these if I
mean,
Yeah,
just
that's
hold on to
like
'em.
I'll have that in board games sometime. Where, like, you know, I really don't like this board game, or I don't want it anymore, or whatever. Like, I would just be willing to give it to someone who really wanted it online.
Yeah.
It would cost me $25 to ship the thing.
exactly.
Yep. Yeah, so if you have sometimes those strategy guides would drop down to like $9, but if it's going to cost you $12 to ship it, it's not worthy for you. Especially unless it's like someone like buying it and paying the shipping for it, maybe. But usually you're just shipping it to another store and hoping that they can sell it instead of you.
Right. Yeah.
Boba Skywalker says some gifts in my last mailbag were pennied out items.
Yeah.
That's
And
great.
thanks, Boba. I mean, there's some cool things that get pennied out, but
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just the right person doesn't come into the store at the right time.
yeah. Or your area, just like there's less interest in your area for it, Like the stuff that I would sell in our Marietta GameStop versus when I worked over at the Southside store. The Southside store was very heavy in PS2 games and a lot less in like the newer stuff at the time.
Sure.
Whereas like the Marietta store, like, and it might have been like the people that were coming in, like just like price wise of what they could afford. Where Marietta might have had more money to toss towards new stuff, whereas they were still going with the older things.
I mean, maybe it is the demand, because doesn't Southside, didn't it also have like a retro game store too? Or am I thinking of something else?
No. I mean, there was a retro game over on the south side called Super Retro Land.
Yeah.
They were there. They moved to Athens. They moved back into Vienna area by the mall, and now they're gone again. So even that, like trying to do like old retro games and stuff like that, they just can't stick around.
Yeah. It's such a niche market. You really need just a whole lot of people to keep something like that afloat. And in this area,
Or a few people that are willing to pay a lot.
That's the other thing.
Dude, the best strategy is Classics Plastics over in the mall.
Yeah.
Because they have just true blue arcade machines in the back.
Yeah.
They have to go past the toys. You have to go past the old like video game stuff, and then you get there. Then you can play. They also have the stuff like outside in the main foyer that you can like play Giant Connect 4 or something,
Sure.
And people are always just coming in and out. I'm always surprised by like that guy just bought a SNES controller, or this guy's just buying this Power Rangers figure. Like they do very well over on the mall there. But they also have like that strategy of like they don't do just one thing. They're not doing just video games, but they're also doing like both loose and mint on card toys.
Yeah,
and they're also, and the guy is
They're
constantly
selling nostalgia.
They are, but the guy's constantly online looking for estate sales, looking for people selling entire collections, buying them and then making his money back by selling them individually.
You got to find the best price you can for a lot of stuff that people also want. It's not just like finding a good price on this junk. You got to find stuff that people also are looking for. That's the thing.
And then he's also from the store keeping a online store as well, so people from anywhere can buy. So he does a good job, but he's always like, I'll go in there on the weekends and he'll see me, but, hey, what's up, man? Because I always come in and we'll buy a bunch of stuff. But the more and more my
one of those
collection
whales that
grows,
they
the
like
less
to
I
get.
buy. So he's always like, hey, I got some new Star Wars stuff in. I'm like, oh, thank God, And then I can go through that, the next month or two, I can go and just pick up 2 or 3 things I don't have.
Sure.
Nice.